day one for the prosecution.
Yes, and I should say that, again, just reminding our viewers that both sides, both the prosecutors as well as the lawyers representing the men, would file, piles and piles of documents so the judges have all that in advance. So these oral hearings really are about emphasizing their major points and for the judges now to ask questions. But yes, I thought the prosecutors did struggle a bit, and I just have 3 examples, which is why I brought in notes so I could actually quote. So for instance, one of the factors to be borne in mind if there's going to be a retrial is the expense to the state. And this is said to be, one of the longest or the longest trials in Jamaican history, 64 days. So you're talking about a lot of expense. When asked about that issue, the acting DPP said the state just has to bear the cost. The judge said in response, that's a novel interpretation. And then the DPP responded, I don't know if we can attribute a cost or a fixed figure to justice. The judge said, well, that's the law. Another example is the issue of the availability of prosecution witnesses. Obviously, this is going to be critical if you're going to be able to mount a viable prosecution. And the judge wanted to know about the availability of each of the witnesses. And what she said was, giving us just a list of witnesses, I don't think that cuts it. Now, the DPP then quoted from an affidavit of Senior Deputy Director Jeremy Taylor, saying most of the witnesses are available, and the judge's response was, well, if you think that's enough. But there was also a comment she made that was pretty telling. She said this court will not be sending any case to the Supreme Court to hear that witnesses are unavailable. Now, I should say, after the break, the DPP did come back and refer the judges to a particular table. Can't tell you what was in that table. I haven't found that out yet. Then a third example, just to give you, Andrea, on the issue as to the length of time the case has taken, the DPP, to answer that point, she was reading a long list of everything that has happened within the 10 years. And the judge stopped her and said, look, what we want is a justification as to why it took 10 years, pointing out that the state has to prove that any breach of the reasonable time standard is demonstrably justified. On that issue, the DPP said she needed more time to respond. So perhaps we'll hear more in terms of a response tomorrow, because the prosecution does continue tomorrow.